So what exactly is topical steroid withdrawal? What does it mean? What are the symptoms? How do you know if you have it? How do you even get it? How is it diagnosed? What do you do once you think you have it? What is the medical industry saying about it? There's so many questions, and it's such a brand new diagnosis or topic in the medical industry. So there isn't that much information about it, but I guarantee you that there are a ton of people out there suffering. I'm one of them, and I've been through it twice. In this video, I'm going to talk about more of the medical side of things, the sciencey side, the research side, and what it actually means to have topical steroid withdrawal. So a quick disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. This is only based on my own personal opinion, what I've lived through, my lived experiences, my own research. Do not take this as medical advice. Please work with your own medical team. All right, with that, let's get into it. So to begin, topical steroid withdrawal is an iatrogenic condition, which means that it was caused by a pharmaceutical drug that was meant to help some symptom in some way, shape, or form, but instead caused serious repercussions and even worsened the original symptoms that the patient was going through. So why does this happen? Well, in most cases, it is because the patient or the person has been prescribed steroids and their body becomes addicted to it, which means that the body is just not accepting it well, and it becomes dependent on it. So when you stop using, or when somebody stops using that particular pharmaceutical drug or steroid, even if it's an over-counter steroid, it could cause an extreme and severe rebound reaction. And what I mean by rebound is that the body just completely goes out of whack. If you think of a spring, then what happens is the spring, it's compressed, right? But once you let go of it, it'll bounce back. It'll like pop open. So that's kind of what happens with our body. Our immune system is suppressed using the steroidal medication. And once we stop, then our immune system just goes out of whack and just bounces everywhere. And it can cause extreme symptoms. Some of those include redness, burning of the skin, severe itching, insomnia. You can have uncontrollable like redness and soreness, twitching in the eyes. There's so many different symptoms. Another common conception or common diagnosis, if you will, is called red skin syndrome. And you don't have to be a long-term user of steroidal medication to get the condition. And I'm not saying that everybody will. There are some cases of even people who've used it for a week, or maybe it was a nasal spray, or they have eczema or something and they're using like a hydrocortisone cream or something like that, but they don't use it for years and years. They might just be using it for a week or two and they still can get the condition. And the thing is, this condition can spread all over the body, but that's what happened to me. So I used it on different parts of my skin and the condition spread all over my body, which was absolutely horrendous, but I'll go into more detail in another video. So let's talk about symptoms beyond the skin, or just symptoms in general. So as I mentioned before, it does start out with extreme discomfort, and discomfort is such a simplified term, to be honest, because it truly is debilitating. It is so crippling and can be really extreme. A lot of people can be hospitalized and it leads to other infections, other severe conditions, and it really is absolutely horrendous. Other symptoms beyond just skin are really swollen lymph nodes, extreme fatigue, or you could feel lethargic, confused. You really have severe insomnia. So many different ways that this condition can manifest itself. But the most common ones are the skin, severe, just itching, redness, swollen lymph nodes, insomnia because you're so uncomfortable, you can't sleep at night, and a lot of just fatigue and mood disturbances, and you really just potentially can almost forget even who you are. Some studies have showed that up to 12% of patients who have used steroidal medication will experience topical steroid withdrawal, and up to 79% have experienced some range of the symptoms that we had talked about. The actual global number of how many people suffer from TSW is not known at this time, but it is medically recognized in the UK, I believe in Asia, I gotta double check that, and as of 2020, 2027, it's going to be medically recognized here in the US, finally. That ICD-10 code is going to be coming out later in 2027. So let's talk about how you get diagnosed. This is not an easy topic, and that's because there was no ICD-10 code, which means it was not medically recognized here in the US. So what patients would be doing is they would go to their dermatologist or their doctor or whatever, and they would just be told that they have severe eczema or severe psoriasis or some sort of topical like dermatitis type situation, which isn't the case. It's completely different than dermatitis. So that would make it really difficult to diagnose, and honestly a lot of medical professionals were stumped. They didn't really know where to go with this, especially with no ICD-10 code. But thankfully that's changing with the help of, I believe it was TikTok, where TSW really had a moment a couple years ago. Maybe it still has a moment, I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments below. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know, but it is something that is gaining awareness, and that's really the bottom line. That's the whole point of this, is to gain awareness for those people who are suffering and for the caretakers who are also trying to support those who are suffering. I think also another point to talk about is that's important is that a lot of medical professionals, it's a very slippery slope. I think some people just didn't want to maybe speak out about certain things, even though they probably believed that yes, a steroid drug could cause this condition. And that's what happened to me. I was passed around a lot, and the doctors just really didn't know what to do or how to handle the situation. They were trained the way that they're trained, which from a conventional standpoint, that is going to be, what kind of pill do I prescribe? What kind of cream do I prescribe? What's the pharmaceutical drug or the pharmaceutical route to treat this condition? And when it comes to steroid withdrawal, it was really interesting because a lot of the doctors just continue to prescribe another steroid, or they're prescribing another immunosuppressant, which is completely counterintuitive. We're having withdrawals from the steroids. So there is definitely hope out there. I don't want this video to be all doom and gloom. There is research being done about topical steroid withdrawal and red skin syndrome, and how steroids have really have a deep cellular effect on the body. There's a couple of great resources. I'll share those with you guys, and I'll also link them down below. There's documentaries, there's podcasts, and there's actual medical research out there. So I'll link some of that below for you guys if you're interested. Another important topic that I want to touch on is that TSW really does change your life. It really can be debilitating, and it can affect everything from who you are, who you understand yourself to be. You can lose your identity, you lose relationships, maybe. Some strengthen, some you lose. There are other ways that it affects you. If you can't work, how are you going to make a livelihood, especially if you're the sole provider in your family, or if you're taking care of children or someone else? There's a lot to it, and it really is a horrible condition. But hopefully by folks out there who are talking about it, even me making this video, I don't know how many people it's going to reach. I hope it reaches a wide audience, just to bring awareness to this condition. I've gone through this twice, and in the last 10 years, and I didn't know where to turn. Somebody on Instagram actually told me about it, and I had no idea what it was. And 10 years ago, there wasn't this kind of research, so nobody was really talking about it, and so I'm really grateful for how far we've come along, but we still have a long way to go. If you or somebody is suffering from topical steroid withdrawal or any chronic condition that has to do with the skin or red skin syndrome, then I hope that this video is helpful and just gives a voice to those people who may not have a voice or may not have anywhere to turn right now, because that was me, and I had no choice. I turned to the internet, and I ended up finding a lot of information. Take your time, take every day as a new opportunity, or just take it one step at a time. There was a time not too long ago, last year, when I literally was just living hour by hour. I was just trying to make it through the day. Lean into additional resources, podcasts, YouTube channels, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook community groups. And there's also the ITSAN, which is ITSAN. I'll put a link down below to their website, but they have so many amazing resources, even professionals, medical professionals who actually acknowledge TSW and work with patients to help them through this. A few more pieces of advice: journaling. Journaling can really help. If you can make it to where you're able to be comfortable enough to just write a little bit, or take some notes, voice notes, anything to keep track of your symptoms and your condition. Lean into your loved ones. If you have somebody that you can lean on, I thank God had my husband. I'm still going through this. Like, I still have symptoms and parts of my skin that I'm healing from. And, thank God for my husband, because there was a time when I could barely make it to the kitchen to get a glass of water. Lean into those people who are around you. They really want to help. Let someone cook for you. Let someone come sit by your side if you need a shoulder to cry on. And do research. That's the biggest thing. Be your own advocate. If you feel that you're working with a medical professional who is gaslighting you and just making you feel unheard, it might be time to break up with them. I hope that this was helpful. I will link some of the resources that I talked about. And if you feel so inclined, please leave me a comment. Let me know if this actually helped you. This sort of stuff really helped me when I was in the thick of things, especially the first time. And now there's a lot more research and a lot more advice, a lot more people talking about it out there. I really hope that this helps even just one person who's suffering from this horrible condition. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. It's just my own opinion. If it can help one person, then it's worth it. Thanks, you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.